Is it just me, or does my room look completely different during the day? So anyway, hello Matt, it is the 29th of June, and yeah, why I'm recording during the day is because, like you, I'm going out tonight as well. It was my last day of college today, and well, yeah, I've not actually had any work to do since Friday. So that's alright, last day of college. Didn't feel nearly as last day as, you know, last year, the end of GCSEs and primary school. I think I've already said this, but yeah, and in answer to your little question, 2017, well, your first question, I know you asked another one, 2017, yeah, is going quickly. Really is. And in answer to your other question, which I just had to look up, well, in terms of just regular news, I'd say, yeah, there's been more bad news this year. I've been 3 terror attacks. That just says something, doesn't it? 3 terror attacks, and then the tower fire. Several other things as well happening. Yeah, but then in terms of my life, I'd say this year's been very good news. I mean, got triple distinction in college, woot woot, pretty good, even though like it's so easy to get the grades. And passed my driving test, which is also really good. And then go to New York, and then go in Spain, and uni as well. It's really good. Like in terms of news for me, it's really good. But yeah, I'd say there's not really been much good news in the news. I mean, no matter who won the election, like there'd be skeptics and people who weren't that happy. So yeah, and then, well, everything else in the news has just been terrible, really. Not really been that much good news, has there? But in terms of my life, yeah, great year, really. More good news than bad news. So yeah, I have broken up officially from college. It's a bit weird. Technically, like, it doesn't even really feel like I've broken up for anything, because college is just sort of like a thing I don't really mind doing. Like, honestly, it's the first type of education that seriously I just didn't mind going in. I mean, I like to go home every day, but it's just like when Wednesday, Thursday and Friday roll along, I'm like, alright, college, that's good. I mean, it's when I've quit Waitrose, which is when my life really, you know, opens up and like gets a lot more free. But yeah, college, it's not really that much of a burden off my head at all. It's not even a burden, really. Could be down to how easy this year has been, but yeah, it's in a way it is doesn't feel really like I've finished anything. My question to you this week is completely random. Like, this has been a pretty slow week again, though you can tell I'm feeling a bit more positive than I was last Sunday. But yeah, it's a bit of a random question this, but I've just forgotten it off the top of my head. Yeah, the question I was going to ask you, kind of related to your previous one. What kind of news do you think will happen throughout the rest of 2017? Like, good news, bad news, more terrorism, more political madness, anything that could happen? Like, what do you think will happen? Will the world just get better, or will it get worse? Ooh, opinion-based question. That's the first from me. I'm always like A or B, or really personal, easy ones. Now I'm asking these philosophical ones. Do you think the world will get better or worse? Okay, right, today's movie review. I'm in a bit of a Harrison Ford mood, apparently. Yeah, I like the actor. But anyway, it's another one of his sort of action-y drama films. This one's The Fugitive. Witness, Fugitive. Two sort of antonyms, and Harrison Ford doesn't play both. Right, The Fugitive is about Harrison Ford's character Richard Kimball, who's falsely accused of killing his wife, and he's sentenced on a death row. It looks like everything's lost for him, but then through a series of fortunate events, he is out wandering in the wilderness, and the government agencies and the police force are after him, led by Tommy Lee Jones's Samuel Gerard. So yeah, it's basically a Tommy Lee Jones trying to find Harrison Ford, mixed with a lot of action, and then also in the meantime they're both trying to find out whether Harrison Ford actually did kill his wife. So quite a lot going on in the plot. But it's really streamlined and simple, and it's paced really well. I will say this, like, you think those two storylines are pretty different, but they get even in some amount of focus. Like, the first half of the movie is basically all the chasing, and then the second half's all that kind of investigating, even though they're still sort of a bit of catch me if you can in there, like Kimball trying to run away from Gerard, no matter like what he does, like he's like still evading them, but they're still catching up to him, which, you know, is really tense plot. And then the investigation at that, maybe not as good the investigation part, but still like the catch me if you can sort of chase bit is really good, really tense, and get really good stunts in there. Like, I mean, I'm sure some of you have seen that stunt where he jumps off the dam. I mean, yeah, that basically, it was a last resort. He couldn't have done anything. Either he turn himself in and get executed, or jump off into like a 50-50 life or death survivor situation. Like, yeah, it's completely insane, really. And the characters as well, they're all like really likeable. Like Richard Kimball's like really like good lead. You see his struggles and everything, which is what I love. And Harrison Ford, like, he's maybe not the most versatile actor, but he can really get across these emotions. And yeah, he does, from him being mainly badass in most of his roles, he does pull off this sort of smart but really nervous individual who, yeah, is on the wrong side of the law, but unwillingly. Like, he doesn't mean it. And then it's balanced out by the complete cockery of Samuel L. Gerard, played by Tommy Lee Jones. Rightfully, he won an Oscar for this role. I mean, and yeah, what year did it come out? I don't think he has much competition, but he did really deserve to win. He made a really commanding presence as the police chief. Like, everything he says, he's got all the quotable lines, but everything he says seems to have so much weight to it, and you get the feeling that everyone would do what he tells them to do, which is, it's just brilliant. Like, and he's, in a sense, not really the villain. He's just sort of following orders. I mean, at points he does do some things that may be a bit worse than Harrison Ford, but and those scenes are probably the worst parts of the movie, where they sort of portray him as a villain, Gerard. But it's yeah, it's still really good role, and there aren't many faults I would have with the side characters either. I mean, they do their role. I mean, really the side characters aren't that important in this story, because it is a true, like, I know I mentioned it 3 times, but it's very like Catch Me If You Can, but in a sort of more action way rather than a more drama way. So I'll probably say the one like kind of complaint other than that, those scenes where Gerard is doing these villainous things, is at points they go very, like, some idiotic decisions made by Richard Kimball. Like, some decisions he makes, I mean, I know he wants to prove he's innocent, but in a way it doesn't necessarily work, because, well, like, it just does it right under the nose of Gerard, who he knows to be a threat. Like, he's had him at gunpoint before, and he's had him on the edge of a dam. So, I mean, they are sweet scenes, some of them, but in a way, yeah, a bit stupid. But that's really like the only 2 problems I have in the movie. Very well paced, memorable characters, memorable plot, really streamlined as well, and the acting's also brilliant. Like, there's not a single fault I'll give with the acting in this movie. And yeah, it's probably one of the best like chase movies I've like seen. So yeah, it's a very good movie. Highly recommend for any fans of 90s action. And honestly, I'm surprised I hadn't watched it until this point. It's been this long, and I love 90s action, and I love Harrison Ford. I have no idea why I've not watched this movie until now, but yeah, seriously, like, very worth the wait. Very good movie. Thanks for watching the vlog, Matt, and I will see you on Saturday.